They live by the ancient laws of Judaism.
Everything I do is only for God.
I can get more anti-Semitic attacks with this look because it yells Jew.
I don't mind being considered crazy. I think I'm pretty crazy, but I just don't think I'm crazy because I don't believe.
You're going to be matched up regardless of whether you're capable or competent or not. You're going to get a woman. It's a right.
When a woman gets married, she wants to keep her hair for her husband.
I was shivering. I was literally shivering. I was sure that God was going to strike me dead.
You try to create a seamless bridge between heaven and earth, between matter and spirit, between us and God.
This is Hasidism in the 21st century. It could be Russia or Poland in the 1800s, but this is New York in the 21st century. This is the inside of a Hasidic synagogue, a place few outsiders see. Yoel is the son of the community's Rebbe, or spiritual leader.
So in Hasidism, one of the most important things to do is to promote always joy. In the Torah it says that the reason why humans are punished is not that you didn't serve God, but if you don't serve God with joy, that is the problem.
The glass jar would book over except if we put it in the pantry and check if it's in the pantry.
Yoel Lebovitz and his wife Toby were introduced through a matchmaker, like most Hasidic couples.
Most of the time, a matchmaker, somebody in the community, somebody who knows your parents or knows you, will think of a boy, her nephew, her neighbor, her son's friend, and will say, oh, I think that'll be good for so-and-so, and she'll make the phone call generally to the parents, because the girl and the boy are still young.
Boys and girls are kept separate until they're ready for marriage, to prevent premarital sex.
They have databases of hundreds or thousands of girls and boys. They're up to date to every school and every grade. And then you sit together for as long as you feel. And usually it's not too long. It's like a few hours because you feel uncomfortable. This is this girl I've never seen in my life. And okay, I know so much about her, it's already creepy.
Yoel was 22 and Toby was 20 when they met for the first time.
Traditionally, Hasidic people have sit-ins, which is like you meet in your living room. And 5 minutes into the conversation, I was like, okay, this is the kind of guy I would marry.
We looked at each other, and it's as if a spark, it's like two wires coming together.
After just 22 hours, they were engaged. They were married 2 months later.
I agree that it sounds crazy. I thought so too. Like when I used to hear my teacher say, oh, when you marry who, your parents know what's best for you. And I would think, yeah, right. These people are not really happy. Those marriages don't work out. And I really thought so. I really, really believed it until I met my husband.
Toby and Yoel have 3 children. Hasidism averages perhaps 8 per family. They take the first biblical commandment to be fruitful and multiply literally. Yoel and Toby Lebovitz are among the estimated 180,000 Hasidic Jews in the United States. out of a total of 6.5 million Jewish people. Hasidic Jews live each day according to the 613 commandments in the Bible. Like other young Hasidic men, 20-year-old Matisyahu Devlin devotes 14 hours a day to prayer and studying religious texts. But Matisyahu is a little different. He's the son of a Catholic father and a Jewish mother, and he's only been a practicing Jew for 2 years. After getting into trouble at home in Pennsylvania, Matisyahu left for New York City, looking for a new life.
I had just met a boy in Starbucks who was Jewish, and at the time I didn't know I was Jewish, and this boy told me because my mother was Jewish that I was Jewish. So he sent me off to this place 770. So I went there actually looking for a place to sleep and for food.
What he found at 770, the main synagogue in Crown Heights, was even more fulfilling.
Can't really explain it, but it was just something just clicked and made me realize that this is where I should be. And I just had a flash, just for a few moments, how I saw how all these events in my life, how this led to this.
A major part of Matisyahu's religious duties is to bring other Jews closer to their religion.
Right now they have this whole little market, so we're just like kind of looking, trying to see if we can like pick out like who's Jewish. Ready to do it? Let's get to work. Let's do it. All right. Jewish, sir? Yeah? You want to wear tefillin? Jewish? They're Jewish, totally. Tefillin? Yeah. Oh, great. Let's wear tefillin. Inside the box is a piece of parchment that has written words from the Torah, and that's in there, and that corresponds to the heart. Then the one on the head, it sits right on your forehead, just between your eyes in the middle. And inside there also there's parchments, and that corresponds to the brain. In order that it should bring godliness into your heart, into your brain. You know, you read Hebrew? Yeah.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kvod Melchuto L'olam Va'ed, Adonai Eloheinu.
Up until 2 years ago, Matisyahu was a normal teenager.
Of course, you're still gonna, have that time now and then where you're gonna think about maybe a previous girlfriend, or you're just gonna think about women in general. That you miss being around them. But it really makes a wedding and being married so special.
In just a few weeks, Matisyahu is making a trip home. He may have the chance to finally hear what his Catholic father thinks about his choice. From sunset on Friday to sunset on Saturday each week, Hasidic Jews observe Shabbos, the Jewish day of rest. It's a time to spend with family and in prayer.
You can't use any electronic devices, you can't turn on the oven, you can't turn on a car, you can't handle money, you can't turn on the fire, and you can't cook, so people have to buy their food. So now everyone is doing the Shabbos shopping, basically.
From a family of Hasidic rabbis, Luzer, short for Elazar, abandoned the Hasidic world 2 years ago.
It all started after I got married. Because before you're married, you live in your parents' house. They control what you bring in the house, what you take out of the house. They control when you leave, when you come, when you go. So you have no freedom. Everything that says in the Bible and in the Talmud and in every commentary, in every book written in Hebrew is true. It's fact. It's indisputable. This is me actually in yeshiva learning.
Luzer started doubting God when he was 17 and at yeshiva.
But there are certain things that you can't question. You can't think outside of the box. You can't question the fact that God created the world. I mean, I'm being called crazy for suggesting that the world evolved, for suggesting Darwin's theory to a Hasidic Jew. I'm considered nuts. You're not supposed to smoke on Saturday, on Shabbos. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna smoke. If God wants, he can kill me. If he doesn't exist. So I took out a cigarette and I was shivering. I was literally shivering. I was in the back of my friend's house in the backyard, lit it up. I started smoking and I was sure that God was gonna strike me dead. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
When Luzer gave up Hasidism, he said goodbye to his wife, his children, and his entire family. Now, at 25 years old, Luzer Twersky is trying to decide what to do next. Inside this typical American home north of New York City lives a very atypical couple, Yoel and Toby Lebovitz.
And this is the bar. Although I'm not a real drinker, but when guests come, I like to entertain them. And it came with the house, so I didn't destroy it. This is a mezuzah. Every Jewish home has it. This is just a little fancy. I got it from Israel, and it has the Western Wall inscribed on it. And you kiss it whenever you pass by. Now this is our marriage certificate. And it has my name and my wife's name. And it has basically the whole contract of our marriage.
They live by biblical rules and rituals that help them through each day.
It's kind of like living within a frame almost makes life, because you can go from here till there. So it's kind of like being guided.
Everything is decided for them, from what they eat to what they wear. They live by strict dietary laws: no pork or shellfish, no mixing dairy with meat. But some say the ancient rules were simply intended to keep people healthy.
Then there's kosher food. You don't eat anything except just natural things like fruits, vegetables. But any packaged or processed thing needs a certification. So you'll notice on every product, especially here in America, most of the products have a little symbol that it's kosher.
They reject much of Western culture as shameless and dangerous.
Being Hasidic in 2011 is probably harder than being Hasidic ever was, because we really want to protect our children from the dangers of, internet and other media.
There's no filter in TV, so you can't filter out the women singing, the immodest dressing. So it has been banned many years ago. Modesty is probably one of the most important things in Orthodox Jewish life, especially in Hasidic life. Because modesty is basically what secures us all. It secures us and it secures others.
And a Hasidic woman doesn't want to attract attention. So she's careful about that. So not wearing perfume in the streets, not making noise with your shoes, not having huge earrings. She should look beautiful, she should look like a princess, but not like a jewelry showcase. What do you think, little guy? This one or this one?
That one.
All married Hasidic women must cover their hair, either with a scarf or wig, or both, even at home, in case of an unexpected male visitor.
Hair is the crown and glory of a woman. So when a woman gets married, she wants to keep her hair for her husband.
Yoel accepts the strong reactions to his clothing, sidelocks and beard.
When you go out in the world, people respect me more and people look up, which is nice and beautiful. And at the same time, I can get more anti-Semitic attacks with this look because it yells Jew. It's nice sometimes to, show, yes, I'm Jew and fully Jewish.
"24-year-old Fagi Meir gave up being a Hasid several months ago. She never felt comfortable in the community.
You're going to be matched up regardless of whether you're capable or competent or not. You're going to get a woman. It's a right. It's an entitlement. And so, yeah, it's a serious challenge for people leaving. Here it's a battle.
This is my living room. This is my nice TV. And I just sit on the chair or on the bench here or on the floor and watch TV.
After leaving his family, Luzer spent months sleeping on friends' sofas and even living in his car. He finally landed his own apartment with help from a Hasidic friend.
This is my little bedroom. So when I got this apartment, I went to buy furniture. I had in mind to have a girl over. And if you're gonna have a girl over, you need a big bed. This is my little bathroom. I love these slippers. You know why? Because no Hasidic Jew would ever wear orange. I think it's so cool to wear something as crazy as this. It just reminds me, these little things remind me of my freedom, getting a red towel. I mean, no self-respecting Hasidic Jew would use a red towel or wear orange slippers.
Most Hasidic men stick to dark suits and white shirts. They also have sidelocks, or peyos.
You shouldn't cut the 5 corners of your head, which is basically here, 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 and here. So, I mean, I really want to get rid of them, really badly, but there are many reasons I don't. Number one, I don't have the balls. Just don't have the balls to cut them off. So I leave them. See, but I don't make them every day, I just put them behind my ear. Just mess them up, put them like this. I feel very Jewish, I just have my own version of Judaism. I do my own version of Judaism.
Luzer has a girlfriend now, but it's been a lonely road.
The thing I miss most is the sense of belonging. You know, I have a people, I have a community, you know, I have a support group. Who's gonna look after me if I'm in danger, if I'm in a jam? No one. That doesn't happen in the Hasidic community. You're always looked after. People worrying for you, there are people caring for you all the time.
26-year-old Mendel Jacobson believes that Hasids have isolated themselves too much, and he wants to change that.
What it means to be a Hasid is not just taking anything for granted. This is how it's supposed to be. Life is supposed to be this way. You're supposed to keep Shabbat, eat kosher, be kind, believe in God, study. But a Hasid is trying to infuse all of that with a soul, with a spirit. You try to create a seamless bridge between what we would call physicality and spirituality, between body and soul, between heaven and earth, between matter and spirit, between us and God.
He is a rabbi at a synagogue in Soho, a fashionable neighborhood in Lower Manhattan.
No, I would not call myself a typical Hasid. The entire message of Hasidism is not to be typical. To be typical, you don't need Hasidism. Baal Shem Tov came because Judaism was becoming typical. The Hasid is supposed to go beyond the letter of the law. The letter of the law says, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. Hasid takes one step further and says, why? What's the purpose?
Mendel's big influence is his father, a highly regarded author and scholar in the Hasidic world, Rabbi Simon Jacobson.
I think like all movements, but people become very much protective over their way and they forget the soul, which is that God created us all on this earth and we have responsibility for each other. So I have no problem with different cultures. Everyone has their own so-called private rituals. But the lack of openness and embracing everybody, and it's not that I'm the only one that's right and everyone else is wrong, I think goes counter to the philosophy of Hasidism.
In Eastern Europe 250 years ago, a teacher known as the Baal Shem Tov created a new movement within Judaism. It was called Hasidism, respecting every individual's unique soul, regardless of background, education, or experience. It soon had thousands of followers. 2 centuries later, the annihilation of European Jews in World War II would decimate the Hasidic community. Some of the survivors rebuilt their lives in Brooklyn, New York. Many were careful to keep themselves apart from the rest of the world.
There are Hasidim who have that attitude, that the world is an enemy, I mean the secular world, and we have to do everything possible to shut out that enemy, which means not have televisions and not even go into the internet and so on. So frankly, personally, I don't think it's in the spirit of Hasidic teachings that we have to live in that type of defensive mode. Hasidism really was a way of embracing the world, but at the same time recognizing that our job is to spiritualize the material, because there is a fundamental tension between matter and spirit, and between the inner and the outer, between, let's call it, survival and self-interest, and serving a higher purpose. And you have to find a way to integrate the two.
Well, good night.
Mendel will soon be following in the footsteps of generations before him. In a week, he'll be getting married. As a newcomer to the community, 20-year-old Matisyahu Devlin has lived in the Hasidic neighborhood of Crown Heights for nearly 2 years.
Everything that a religious Jew might want, you can get here. You have the clothing store, the hat store, and the kosher food stores and kosher restaurants, and the fish store and the fruit stand.
Everything we need is here. You only have to walk a few blocks. So it's very great.
You're living with a very large Jewish community, so to be here, you're not just living with other Jews, you're part of a very big family and everyone's here.
How you doing, Sal?
How you doing?
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem.
What's going on? Everything all right?
Yeah, everything's great. Thought I'd come take a look at hats.
Nearly all of the Hasidic men in Crown Heights wear black hats. Jewish law states that covering your head is honoring God. As a new member of the community, Matisyahu wants the best hat he can afford.
When we pray, we wear a hat. When we go to see the rabbi, we go with a hat. A yarmulke, a plain skull cap does not do it for us. We usually carry a hat and a skull cap underneath. And when we pray, we wear a hat all the time.
For Matisyahu, wearing the right hat is a symbol of his deeper transformation into a member of the Hasidic community.
All right, take care, Sal.
One of the most sacred events for a young Hasid is getting married. And today, Mendel Jacobson is hours away from the single most important moment of his life, his wedding to Deborah Small.
Oh yeah, I feel great. I feel at peace, which is interesting actually. Yeah, we just flew in from New York City. We just landed, morning of the wedding ceremony. It was a great flight, we fell asleep, and now we're heading to the hotel.
They have not seen or spoken to one another in a week, a custom in their community.
It's about creating eternity. You know, marriage today has become somewhat like a party. You know, here it's about really sanctity, it's about eternity, it's about knowing a moment of truth that lasts forever. I'm already welling up, you know, just thinking about it.
The bride is in a separate room where she receives congratulations from her female guests, who also hope to get her blessing. On this day, the bride is considered almost holy.
The women are in a special room, and that's where everyone goes to the bride for a blessing. The bride has a tremendous honor and responsibility that she's thinking about the entire Jewish community.
Shortly before his wedding, Mendel follows tradition by going before the other men of the community to speak about the mysticism of marriage.
And then at a certain point, after I'm done repeating this Hasidic discourse, explaining the esoteric and mystical meanings of the whole event, the whole wedding, there will be a procession. And I will see the Devorah for the first time in a week when I enter the room that she's in.
For modesty, Mendel covers his bride's face with an opaque veil.
It's a custom to have it under the stars, even if the stars aren't out yet, it's still technically under the sky.
Everything that is done has a meaning behind it. Nothing is superfluous, nothing is just like a thing. The tradition has been done for hundreds of years, in some cases thousands of years.
Teres Hasidus, Virchas Mazel Tov, and the Rebbe's signature. English translation. By the grace of Hashem,
and they too continue a ring in that eternal golden chain of Jewish continuity and eternity.
Hare at Mekudeshes Li, Das, Kosher V'Yisrael.
The couple are swept off to a room where they will be alone together for the first time as a married couple.
They're privately with each other as a husband and wife. They'll be there a few minutes, and then they will go out, probably take some pictures, and then greet their guests, and the party begins.
So you'll see, actually, at the wedding ceremony, men and women are separate, even husbands and wives, because it's celebrating the soul of it. You don't want to focus on the body, you want to focus on the soul, the unity. And the reason it's just a great celebration is because it's literally like the creation of the world. It's two opposites coming together to create a new whole. Marriage.
Devorah completes me. So it's very difficult for me to even imagine life any other way.
Today, Matisyahu is leaving for a big trip home, a visit to his family in York, Pennsylvania, where he and his 10 siblings were raised Catholic.
So I grew up my life going to Catholic school and went to church on Sundays.
His mother was Jewish, but not very observant.
Throughout high school, my friends would always make these, comments to me like, "Oh, you're such a Jew," or things like this. Even though I didn't, know I was Jewish, everyone knew my mother was Jewish. So my friends, they'd make comments to me all throughout high school, "Oh, you're such a Jew," or, "Stop being a Jew, Matt," So once becoming religious now, they'd be like, "Hey, you really are a Jew."
The only thing Jewish they observed at home was Hanukkah, the festival of lights, commemorating an ancient victory over the Greeks, who tried to force Jews to assimilate. Matisyahu is planning to celebrate this Hanukkah with his family for the first time as a Hasid. It's a 4-hour drive back to York, Pennsylvania, and Matisyahu doesn't get there very often.
As for how people feel about what I'm doing, I think at first my family maybe thought it was a little different, but now everyone just seems mostly very supportive.
But he has never spoken about it with his father.
He's a religious man in Catholicism. My father's not Jewish. Personally, I don't really, whatever, my father don't really speak about it, and I don't really know what his opinion is, so I don't really want to say anything.
Matisyahu finally arrives in York, the place where he grew up, a quiet town located in south-central Pennsylvania, where Jewish people make up less than 1% of the population.
Coming back here with the beard and with the black hat, it's definitely a little different. Because everyone knows I'm like this crazy religious Jew now.
No bark. How you doing? No bark. No, just on. Hey, man.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Thank God, how are you? Good?
Good. Hey, brother boy, how are you?
Thank God, doing great.
Good.
I forgot that
Matisyahu is the 6th out of 11 children.
Good to see you.
Maybe I might stay later. I might maybe go to Lancaster for Shabbos and then stay a couple more days after that.
Yeah?
So I'm gonna make my dinner. I'm gonna bring my food. I'm gonna make my dinner.
Here, I didn't eat yet, Matt.
Okay, you wanna eat with me?
Yeah, I'll eat with you.
Wait a few minutes? Yeah, let me just grab my food.
Matisyahu can't eat most of the food cooked in his own family's kitchen. He even has his own appliances set aside in the basement.
I know both in my mind and in my heart that this is the right thing to do as a Jew. So therefore, there's no reason for me to sit around and dwell on maybe this is right, maybe it's wrong.
It's sunset, and Matisyahu is getting ready to light the Hanukkah menorah and celebrate.
Just checking out what you're doing. What are you doing? Oh, what a nice. Oh, I'm in your way now.
With my mother, becoming religious has really done wonders for our relationship. Growing up most of my life, my mother and I did not get along very well, mainly through my own fault.
Put it on, where can we burn it on the kitchen table?
Dad has the best opinion. Dad, what do you think? You think maybe you think this? I mean, I don't think it gets smoky from. I never saw it get smoky, but this is your picture, so I don't want to. Well, you don't want to smoke off it. I mean, it's never smoky.
Yeah, I know. I didn't cover up the Christmas. No, you watched one.
Yeah, put this on.
It's good.
You could have one too if you want. I don't know if you want to. I gave Andrew has one. If you want to feel left out, doesn't matter.
Look here, I got guilt for you too. Here, look, I got guilt for you.
Great. This one's a little smaller. Yeah, everyone's gonna sing, right?
Sing what we know.
Yeah, of course. You sing that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner Chanukah. Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
Right.
At a time, I think when he was very vulnerable, people that were God-fearing and loving took him in, because it could have turned out differently.
Yo, it's plenty for everybody.
Go. Oh my gosh.
Why is it called that? Because it makes you feel.
No one does. They run. What?
He just seems so settled and so much more. I don't even want to use the word happy because that's not the right word. Like peaceful, and he just seems so much better.
And you're always Catholic. Well, once you've been baptized, it's theologically it's an indelible mark on you, and you can walk away from it, but you still have that mark.
He hasn't necessarily said, wow, I love what you're doing, but he never spoke against it. He sees his son who is doing something, he's religious and he's following God, and I think for him it's good for him.
You come into New York, like a large city with so many millions of people, and it feels very lonely. You go through the streets, everyone knows where they belong. It's overwhelming, When you see like couples walking in the street, holding hands, it's kind of heartwarming in a way, in an odd way. I mean, people being free to express their feelings, to express their emotions, to express their passion about each other,
For now, Luzer has no plans to return to his old life, but he can't say he'll never go back.
It's inevitable. I was raised so certain that is the right thing to do. There's no way it wouldn't cross my mind that maybe I'm wrong. And that's a very tough thing to deal with. Dealing with regret is a very tough thing. I mean, I don't live my life in regret, but it does cross my mind every once in a while.
Simon Jacobson believes Hasidism must find a balance between tradition and a fast-changing contemporary world.
I welcome you all that are here, and as well as online audience. It means my God.
So I think there's going to be some pain involved because there are going to be Hasidim who are going to, so to speak, fall out of the system. It's inevitable. But at the same time, I think there'll be some that will become real Hasidim of the 21st century, who know how to embrace the developments of this world and actually bring godliness into it instead of running the other way. And I believe, and firmly believe, that these teachings will spread and it will change the world. That's the ultimate future of Hasidus.
Back in Brooklyn, Matisyahu has resumed his studies.
I lived one way for 18 years, and then all of a sudden I decide I should be a religious Jew. I know both in my mind and in my heart that this is the right thing to do as a Jew. God exists, and He runs the show. That I'm a Jew, and I have to be proud of that. And what a Jew does, this is what I have to do.
For Yoel and Toby Lebovitz, it's all about faith and family.
By the corner there's a house with a big bear and a blue dreidel.
Tonight they celebrate a traditional Hasidic Hanukkah, commemorating a time when a tiny nation defeated the ancient Greeks.
Well, every holiday is really very important. This one specifically, I think, the Greeks weren't going to kill the Jews, they just wanted to assimilate us. That's a mighty lot, God. It's a lot about the family, it's a lot about the women and children. Our children take pride in the fact that we are different, and we're holding on to something that's so ancient and so special.
So I think Hasidism in the core is a beautiful thing, and I just wish that everyone who is a Hasid, and even who is not a Hasid, should be able to see the light and feel the joy of real Hasidus and indulge in it and live a beautiful, happy life.